The 38th presidential election took place on November 2nd, 1976. The country was finally 200 years old. Wow, what a time to be alive. But many Americans were starting to untrust their government, and Nixon is the biggest reason why. Oh yeah, and Spiro Agnew too. Remember how Nixon won big in 1972? Yeah, his campaign was up to some shady stuff. Nixon sent advisors to go spy on the Democratic National HQ at the Watergate, and he got busted, which this was known as the Watergate scandal. Fearing getting fired by the Senate, Nixon resigned on August 8, 1974, leaving the presidency to Vice President Gerald Ford. And you're probably asking me right now, wait a minute, what happened to Spiro Agnew? Spiro Agnew resigned a year before because when he was the governor of Maryland, he received illegal bribes, and so Ford picked Nelson Rockefeller as his vice presidency. One of the first things that Gerald Ford does is pardon Richard Nixon, and I think this picture tells you everything. And Ford dealt with high inflation that went up to 12%. I know it seems low, but 12% is high. And he dealt with South Vietnam falling to communism, which tarnished his reputation, and going into the primaries, he faced a fierce opponent, the former governor of California, Ronald Reagan. Reagan and Ford were neck and neck in the primaries, but at the end, Ford won the nomination, and it was Ford and Bob Dole, a senator from Kansas. Wait a minute, what happened to Nelson Rockefeller? Well, dear viewer, Rockefeller wanted to retire from politics, so he dropped out, and so this picture shows you how happy he was. And so, the Democratic primaries were a toss-up, which I only mentioned 3 candidates. We got George Wallace, the governor of Alabama, that's still kicking from the 1972 election, and Jerry Brown, the governor of California and the future governor of California, and the son of Pat Brown. But none of them stood a chance against Jimmy Carter, the former governor of Georgia, and he wiped the floor with all of them, with him coming in first, Brown coming in second, and Wallace coming in third. And so Carter picked Walter Mondale, a senator from Minnesota, as his running mate. The debates between Carter and Ford were kind of interesting, because Ford said dumb stuff like,
"There is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe, and there never will be under a Ford administration."
I'm sorry, could I just follow? Did I understand you to say, sir, that the Russians are not using Eastern Europe as their own sphere of influence and occupying most of the countries there and making sure with their troops that it's a communist zone, whereas on our side of the line, the Italians and the French are still flirting with possibility?
I don't believe.
And Carter was lusting over women to Playboy magazine instead of his wife, which was kind of weird. Yeah. But enough of that. The moment you all been waiting for, the results. Drum roll, please. Jimmy Carter won 297 electoral votes, and Gerald Ford won 240 electoral votes. Carter won 50% of the popular vote, and Ford won 48% of the popular vote. Jimmy Carter won, becoming the 39th President of the United States. Today's shoutouts go to Kiru the Clown and Carrot Animations. Pretty cool if you like drawing and art and storytime animation. And like and subscribe for more videos.